So I'm reclining and bulling, thinking about how many different ways I'm gonna hit this blunt when I'm done with this video. And while scrolling through the news of the week, an article caught my eye. Amongst the plethora of wild ideas and inventions I've come across in the food industry, this new edition trumps pretty much everything I've seen to this date. And we've been through some crazy shit recently, like Spider-Man Whoppers, Impossible Burgers, fuck, even the vegan chicken nuggets are blowing my mata. Cause I swear I came to this dinner for the chicken and the nugget, not just the nugget. There's no way that they think frying a bunch of soybeans and adding honey mustard made me think that this is better than the real thing. If anything, it means that they needed to give honey mustard more credit for bodying absolutely everything to begin with. But I digress. As of a couple of days ago, the FDA has officially allowed no-kill meat or culture meat to be sold in stores, restaurants, and possibly schools in good old America. Two companies in specific, Good Meat, which has to be like Kanye's secret food company or perhaps the worst branding ever, which we'll get into in a second, and a smaller food conglomerate, Upside, are the first people to step into this steaming pile of bullshit. Good Meat, which is just just a heavy pause to begin with, already had permissions to distribute this revolutionary substance in Singapore since 2020, and since then has made it their mission to infiltrate the dinner tables of all Earth citizens in hopes of replacing that natural juicy sirloin steak on your plate last night or that Chick-fil-A sandwich Becky can't get enough of with a more hospitable version filled with lab-generated protein and flavor. See, like most of the world, I had my eyes glued to TikTok for the last couple years, so I generally do not remember hearing about this or even recall anyone being either extremely happy or outraged by this revelation, which is why I'm so deeply concerned with the state of our world. Because if they can unnaturally convince us that this is suddenly okay and that this new shape and reality of food should ultimately be accepted, then what will we not conform to? Since its inception, the food industry has been criticized year after year for its obscene and prominent abuse of animals and plants in order to mass produce food that often gets packaged and left on clearance shelves from state to state. Even though we were once hunters and gatherers alike, the cycle of raising cattle or chicken and slaughtering them has become impersonable to the average consumer since the start of the Industrial Revolution, solely because we've taken every backyard in this world and mowed it instead of focusing on cultivating crops and food for our own family instead. Now, I'm not saying to be greedy and only provide for yourself, but our over reliance on the food market and every company that falls underneath its umbrella is an unsettling dependency that would utterly lead to our demise. Like, all jokes aside, the main argument here is that scientists have estimated the population in the world to surpass 9 billion people by 2050. So to ensure the sustainability of the earth, they propose that we eliminate as much excess carbon footprint as possible. And apparently the meat industry is responsible for about 1/3 of that population. They believe that acting like God and turning every facet of our diet into test tube experiments will resolve this issue and stop us from furthering global warming and other greenhouse effects, which is honestly a great concept because in layman's terms, you could essentially find a way to feed a world without killing absolutely anything. That's only if that was actually possible. See, in order to even generate this perfect alien steak, scientists have to take the stem cells of a chicken or a cow and artificially doctor it with nutrients and other proteins the animals would have been familiar with in order to give it the same so-called natural integrity and nutrients real meat would have. However, in order to probe these stem cells, they have to continue to slaughter a countless amount of animals in a fashion some would say is even more inhumane than before. In order to undergo this cloning process, they look for a specific genome in the fetus of a pregnant cow, which ultimately results in killing the adult cow and its offspring. Some could argue that this is a better trade-off because with that one cow, they can mass produce over 175 million quarter pounders as opposed to killing over 400,000 cows for the same result. But experts have noticed that the resources and electricity required in producing such meals make the meat industry look like pacifists. For instance, since the growing process is so advanced, 1 kilogram of lab generated meat garners approximately 246 to 1508 kilograms of carbon dioxide, which is in comparison only about, I don't know, 25 times the amount of carbon dioxide that would have been expelled if we did things au naturel. So in 2050, we all might have Wingstop every day, but it's definitely gonna feel like 150 degrees outside. So if we ever want to consciously want to move forward with this bullshit, which I really hope we don't, to be honest, because that would be a scary world, we need Mark Zuckerberg and Elon to stop celebrity boxing for one day and see if Musk can come up with enough solar panels to reduce such a big footprint. But at that point, I'd much rather want 1 trillion Cybertrucks carrying real chicken Popeye sandwiches to join me in traffic instead of imagining a world full of people pretending that 3D printed burgers in front of them taste the same and feel the same as the ones that they probably should be hunting for. I'm just saying, no kill meat is mid.